Hey folks, welcome to Bike Chat. Tonight we're going to be spending some time with Josh Patterson from BikeRadar, learning about some of the cool things he saw at Sea Otter.
Well, one of my favorite things was a small company called Cush Core,
Okay.
and they make a foam insert for mountain bike tires. The idea being that it protects your rims from dents,
Okay.
and also protects your tires from snake biting against the rim during an impact. It's not necessarily new in the sense that, there's been companies doing this actually for decades with like anti-snake bite kits that have
Right.
kind of come and gone. I think we're seeing more traction with these products right now in the form of the Schwalbe ProCore system, which is essentially a reinforced inner tube inside of your tubeless tire to like help you bounce off impacts, or the Huck Norris system, which is kind of a flat foam insert to help protect your rims.
Gotcha.
What kind of makes Cush Core interesting is that one is the shaping, so it's shaped to take up basically half your tire.
Yeah.
So and it's molded in that shape. It's not basically a piece of weather stripping that's been glued into a circle, which are some other systems kind of like that. It's a very well thought out system. And because of that, one of their claims is because it's shaped like the inside of your tire, it helps reinforce the sidewalls under hard cornering.
Gotcha.
Again, have no time on this, so can't validate their claims, but it seems interesting. And it seems like they have some fairly high profile athletes that have been using the system.
Looks pretty cool.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, on that, they said Jared Graves and Curtis Keene have been using them. So that, like, because I was wondering, because everybody in the race sounds like in the race industry, they're like weight junkies. You want the least weight as possible. So I was going to ask, like, 255 to 266 grams for the 29 or 255 for the 27.5. So that's not a huge increase that people are going to really care about in the racing field. Yes or no?
It's significant. I don't think there's a way to get around it. It's for any racer, there is a weight penalty there. I guess Cush Core would point to the fact that these racers are willing to accept that weight penalty for what they say is improved rolling resistance,
Right,
and flat protection.
So you're going to get more speed in the downhill, fast-paced sections is what they're claiming.
Yeah, and I mean both those racers, Graves and Keene, have suffered flats during races. I would argue that's much slower than adding a bit of rotational weight.
sure.
So it's an insurance policy.
Do you still run it tubeless? I mean, I would guess you still would want to go tubeless, but I'm looking at the thing. I'm trying to figure out where the sealant kind of flows inside of that. Does it actually lock into the bead or something like that, or because the sealant would get lost in there someplace or something?
So yeah, it is made of a closed cell foam. So their claim is that it doesn't really absorb sealant.
Okay.
But yes, you can only use it tubeless. There's no room for a tube.
Okay.
And it essentially takes up the inner portion against the rim of the tire. So your sealant would just rotate on the inside of the tire. Yeah.
Well, if anything, I really like the idea of it protecting your rim because you go tubeless, you drop tire pressure. That's one of the big reasons you go tubeless. You want to drop the tire pressure, but now you've got less tire to keep it from bashing your rim, so you get a lot more dents and things like that. So if anything, that makes a lot of sense just to help protect your rims. And if you've got some carbon rims, you really want to make sure that you take good care of these things. So that's pretty cool. That's actually a pretty neat design.
Now, is the price, because I know the price is pretty expensive. How much is just a normal carbon ring, rim usually? Is it like $400 a rim, or is it?
You could go from off-brand Chinese carbon where you're $200 a rim.
Okay.
All the way up to some very expensive $1,000+ options from like Envy. So
now, your opinion, is the Chinese carbon less quality than the other ones? You know what I mean? So would it be worth it to kind of invest in that? Because you might as well just upgrade, you know what I mean, to the better quality carbon rim if the Chinese carbon isn't that great, plus you get the sidewall protection. It's like at that point, you might as well just get the good one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I mean, this could be a whole show on manufacturing. So I've seen broken carbon rims from every manufacturer. It's just how it goes. You know, you can break anything.
Gotcha.
What you're paying for when you're paying for more expensive carbon is the engineering behind it.
Okay.
Also, a little known fact is there are certain epoxies used that kind of, you know, bind all these layers of carbon together that are, you know, it's an overused marketing term, but like mil-spec carbon or epoxies, I should say. And there's actually some truth to that, is that some epoxies are only available if the product is manufactured in the U.S. You can't get them overseas.
Wow.
Which is one reason to build certain carbon components in the United States. And, you know, there are carbon companies that do that. So you can make the argument that those are stronger for their weight than some Chinese carbon products. You also get a better warranty. So those are a couple reasons. You're paying for more than just the end product.
Makes sense.
In something like that.
Perks.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, these little inserts were like $150, correct?
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for foam.
Each are like a pair.
That's for a pair.
Okay, all right.
That's a little better.
That's not. That's a lot better. That's
Yeah,
50% better.
That's an awful expensive sponge, dude. But I mean, we'll have to give it a whirl. I'm be interested to see what you guys think about these, because you know it can't cost more than like a couple nickels here and there to actually make that. There was a lot of money that we're paying back in R&D, because that can't be a lot of money invest. Like, it can't cost a lot to produce that thing, dude. It can't, you know.
Yeah, and you know, it's a small company. There's some economy of scale stuff there. They're also using the foam they're using is made by Extra Light. You know, it's a special closed cell foam. Like I said, it's not just like weather stripping.
Right.
They're also probably trying to, you know, there's costs involved in the special mold they have to make for this.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but I guess the question is, you know, if there's a real benefit, you know, it's you know, providing sidewall stability,
right,
rim protection. So, yeah, it's and if you care about, you know, finishing first versus
there's a price for
last
that
because of a flat, it could be worth it.
Right.
So yeah, we'll have a set in for test at BikeRadar, and yeah, we'll get back to you with what we find.
That'd be
so
cool.
This Cush Core, I think I was reading something in the article about that. It's specifically like they actually make this foam for this specific purpose, whereas other companies recycle, you know, products to make it to make their sidewalls, and this is specifically designed for a purpose. This material. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, they chose a material that has certain, according to Cush Core, they chose a material that has a certain damping characteristics, and it's also supposed to be, you know, fairly durable. You know, some of those other products that are repurposed, it's basically just like a one and done thing. It'll absorb the impact, but it's basically you kind of ruin it in the process. But you've saved your tire and rim.
Got it.
So, and to put the price into, you know, into perspective, it's more affordable than the Schwalbe ProCore system.
Okay.
But more expensive than, like, say, Huck Norris, which is kind of the entry level flat protection system.
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, like you said, if it's worth it, it's worth it. You know, I mean, the bikes we buy are thousands of dollars, so that's not really that much money if it's going to do what it's supposed to do.